Fear is an innate instinct that resides in the subconscious, which sends negative signals that destroy the immune system and lead to catastrophic consequences such as blindness, poverty, loneliness, insanity, and death. Fear is a feeling of dread about something, and it is either 10% realistic and this is good, or 90% imagination. Illusory fear is the result of ignorance because the one who is ignorant of something he feared of him. Fear paralyzes your thinking like the brakes that stop the car. Bending to injustice does not mean not the will of freedom, but the fear of paying the price of freedom, and fear of failure kills every desire for success. The scholar said, fear of death increases by an equal rate to the increase in wealth, and the miserly people who fear poverty live in poverty because of their miserliness. And fear of torture is worse than the torment itself, and humiliation to be in fear of humiliation. And hypocrisy is one of the faces of fear, and fear does not prevent death. It prevents life because it makes a person a prisoner of himself. An example of this is that you may have doubts that you will lose your sweetheart, your money, or your job. As for the most important manifestations of fear, it is fear of the future, such as fear of death, wars, poverty, and disease, and fear of change, such as changing housing and employment. Fear of the unknown such as the jinn, metaphysics, magic and darkness. Fear of places such as graves, the desert, and seas in the depth of the night, and fear of closed and high places and prisons, and the jungles and remote villages, and fear associated with creatures such as losing loved ones, closeness to the opposite sex, envy, public speaking, bad reputation, having sex with one's wife. And there is the fear of predators and some insects, and fear of driving a car and riding ships and airplanes, and the most important fears come from the previous failure at work, marriage, and social relations. According to the law of attraction, the subconscious mind broadcasts frequencies like those of satellite channels that attract what occupies a person's thinking, whether negative fears or wonderful aspirations. Here are examples of fear, the most important of which is the fear of failure and its treatment to be certain. There is no doubt that your dreams can become real if you conquer fear. I dug in the rock to develop yourself. One day I wrote a book and I could not print it. But I ignored that fact and continued to write until the book became an encyclopedia. Then YouTube appeared and published it, and if you stopped, I would not have material for publishing. So you should trust yourself and pursue your hopes and your dreams, and do not worry about failure. As for the most important manifestations of fear, it is fear of the future, such as fear of death, wars, poverty, and disease, and fear of change, such as changing housing and employment, fear of the unknown such as the jinn, metaphysics, magic and darkness, fear of places such as graves, the desert, and seas in the depth of the night, and fear of closed and high places and prisons, and the jungles and remote villages, and fear associated with creatures such as losing loved ones, closeness to the opposite sex, envy, public speaking, bad reputation, having sex with one's wife. And there is the fear of predators and some insects, and fear of driving a car and riding ships and airplanes, and the most important fears come from the previous failure at work, marriage, and social relations. According to the law of attraction, the subconscious mind broadcasts frequencies like those of satellite channels that attract what occupies a person's thinking, whether negative fears or wonderful aspirations. Here are examples of fear, the most important of which is the fear of failure and its treatment to be certain. There is no doubt that your dreams can become real if you conquer fear. I dug in the rock to develop yourself. One day I wrote a book and I could not print it. But I ignored that fact and continued to write until the book became an encyclopedia. Then YouTube appeared and published it, and if you stopped, I would not have material for publishing. So you should trust yourself and pursue your hopes and your dreams, and do not worry about failure. There is a fear of public speaking in front of a crowd, but this is a natural thing. And there is a saying that the best speakers in the world still suffer some fear or tension while speaking in front of the crowd, and to overcome this, the problem should be confronted gradually and solving it, such as engaging in clubs and societies and then speaking in a gathering young and after a while in the collection of greater and greater. And another is saying that most people do not like their voices, and I am one of them, but I was surprised one day that a close friend told me that your voice is beautiful. So I considered it a compliment, but several friends confirmed it, so you should not doubt the beauty of your voice because there are some who loves him. As for the fear of change, it is an uncomfortable human feeling in the beginning, but getting used to it after a while will be more comfortable, especially when moving from civil society to another village, or a large house for a smaller house, or a large job for a lesser job, whether in salary, status or geographical location. And overcome this, the type is by developing a succession plan that defeats the change that has occurred that did not satisfy you, and during this time the aforementioned advice should be acted upon. There is fear due to a previous failure in work, marriage, or social relations, and you must know that it is a natural failure that most of the great people in history have overcome. So you should be like them and not let your past take away your future, and from this type of failure related to the reputation, such as if a woman works in prostitution and then marries and stops and does not stop, people report offending her, and in that case, she should remember that all human beings are not gods, prophets and angels, because we are mixed with the dough of our father Adam, the owner of the first human sin. And that you know that everyone has sinned, and there is an audience of celebrities who have been defamed in international news. The former President Bill Clinton betrayed his wife with a secretary, and each of them, the president, his wife, and the secretary, stood on his feet and did not bother with the words of the people. There is a saying that has had a great impact in my life that says, do not bother with the words of people because none of them pays your daily expenses. And it is enough for you to respect yourself in front of yourself, because whatever you do, you will not satisfy the multitudes of people, because among them the vengeful and jealous and hidden enemy. That is why if you are attacked by fear of people's words, you should throw it into the nearest garbage bin and not be shaken. And remember that some people commit dozens of times more horrific than you have done, and have strength and courage to staying without a trace on his nerves. And also remember that every person is concerned and overwhelmed with his problems at work, the house, purchases, and the car, and he is not concerned with your problem. So do not let your fears dominate you and deprive you of happiness and many material gains. But how? First, stop the dialogue with your subconscious mind by ignoring its fears, and control it by occupying your free space with reading, creative hobbies, and recreation. Secondly, write precisely what you fear and then write your goals. Winston Churchill says, self-strength is to move from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Third, develop yourself. Acquired new skills and read everything related to your dream to possess the keys to this dream, and know that every day adds to you a new experience and broader horizons. Fourth, according to the law of attraction, if you are certain that your beautiful dreams will be true, whatever your circumstances, they will come true. Because your subconscious mind attracts positive energies if you dreamed of it as if it were real reality that you live every morning and before bed. And I say without exaggeration that every dream I dreamed of when I was young was all or 80% of it, and it was the villa, the car, and travel around the world, and my work in art and literature, and during all this I passed from a killer's failure to brilliant success, and from poverty to rich, then failure and success and poverty and wealth. And this is how I lived my life, tramp and a prince, thanks to my beautiful dreams and clinging to my goals. The law of attraction Einstein spoke about and talked about it for a long time. 5th. Learn to relax from yoga books and the like. Now get to sleep on your back on a comfortable bed in a comfortable place. Take a very deep breath. Then take it out for at least 7 times, ensuring that recall all that makes you feel happy. 6th. Gather your strength and set out to boost your self-confidence. Change your lifestyle. Acquire new science, rediscover yourself, practice sports and creative hobbies that contain innovation, engage with people, read about the lives of great people. To learn that success does not come until after failure. 7th. Ignore criticism. 8th. Do not be a prisoner of your fears, because fear makes you a prisoner of yourself. And you have to know that courage is an antidote to poisons your fears, because fear diminishes when you face it, and remember that the only person holding you back is yourself. Your inability to face your fears will not lead you to something meaningful, because the fear of failure makes dreams impossible. 9th. Participating in good deeds relieves you of life's fears. 10th. I know that the more a person loses his faith in God, the greater his fear. Because the fear of God removes fear from people and the evils of this world, and be certain that when God closes the door of sustenance, another door opens on the condition that you strive hard. Strive and be patient, and do not rebel, but thank Him in good times and bad, and you have to know that spiritual emptiness is the only reason for the suicide of the losers who are far from God. See on YouTube experiences those returning from impending death to realize that all your fears are trivial, because we live in a virtual world and that true life is eternal. Residing is not on earth in that olive swimming in the In the end, I summarize what came here and say you can conquer fear, tension and anxiety by ignoring the whispers of your delusional subconscious mind. And this only comes about by writing what you fear, then killing the emptiness. Meaning killing time and directing your conscious mind to think about things that move away from the source of fear and anxiety, whether through yoga, meditation or focus in developing your skills in acquiring new skills, and practicing individual hobbies such as reading, sports, drawing, literary or journalistic writing, cooking, and handicrafts such as home decor and gardens, and common hobbies with friends such as frequenting restaurants, cafes, museums, cabarets, cinemas, theater, music and opera. With changing your lifestyle and the stereotypical colors of outdoor clothes and home clothes, do not forget to do good and draw close to God has done magic on your life. Then ignore criticism and the words of people, and hope for a brilliant future that will be achieved for you according to the law of attraction. Then a good sleep for 8 hours and eat healthy foods with a focus on foods that contain the hormone of happiness, which are dark chocolate, bananas, and lettuce, while avoiding smoking and caffeinated drinks. And I know that every day that passes you forget a large part of your delusional fears. End. Support the channel with like and subscribe to receive every new video.